tip number 2 was have the tools you need, but not necessarily to overcomplicate it. So we talked about getting your equipment ready, but do you have any other advice or thoughts about what equipment you really need to have for a wedding specifically, or just general event photography?
I think the big thing, again, is taking what you know about being prepared in our first tip and applying it to that. Typically, an event and a wedding, you're kind of moving around, you're just kind of photojournalistic shooting. I guess it depends on your style, but the 3 big things that I think you need are a fast enough camera that you need to, that you feel comfortable with and that you can shoot with. And if that means 2, then that's making sure that they match and they're close enough in capability. The second thing is glass. So, you know, like I said earlier, being far away, we need a zoom lens. If you're just shooting a wedding of 20 at a courthouse, then maybe a lens that's just a mid-range zoom, like a 24-70 or 16-55, because that way it'll give you coverage of wides and closes. And so knowing, you know, your situation in that. And then 3 would be just cards and just general accessories that you may need, like flashes. Are you shooting at night? Is it indoors? Are you going to lose light? Do you need extra batteries? Like, you know, it's all those little accoutrements that get it. Yeah. My typical setup, I think for your wedding actually was back when I was shooting DSLRs still, and I shot them on 2 Nikon D800s. Yeah. And my go-to setup is having, I use a strap with 2 cameras. It's actually really nice. It's like leather. I wish I had it with us, but it's nice and leather, and it helps me blend in with a lot of the guests. I look like I'm just wearing really nice suspenders, and when I bring my camera up, people don't notice. So that 2 cameras on my right side, I have usually a long lens, like a 70-200, and that is actually probably what I shoot 75% of the wedding on, because I can step back and I can zoom in and I can get those candid shots, get really fun shots. That hangs on my right side, and then on my left side, I usually have a mid-range zoom, 24-70 or an 18-55, which is this, and that one goes here because things are happening so fast. I need to be able to switch and grab that lens faster than it takes me to switch it on my camera. Yeah. So that's a huge thing.
I think that brings up 2 things. Well, one, I do remember after our kiss, walking down the aisle, going outside of the ceremony venue. My wife and we walked outside, and Will is like swapping cameras to get that wide shot as we come outside of the church or the chapel, and you couldn't do that with the telephoto lens. The other important thing is you just never know what's going to happen to your camera if something doesn't work for some reason. If it breaks, you know, you never know what's going to happen. I know when I was shooting a wedding, actually my first wedding, it was doing video, but it was one of the scariest moments of my life because it was my first wedding, so I was nervous already, but for some reason, the only camera I had, it just wasn't turning on. Oh my! And it was just like one of these things, like it had never happened before, but it just wasn't turning on.
That's scary.
And it was like right before the ceremony was about to start. They were about to walk down the aisle.
Did anyone else know, or?
No one else knew except that I went to the photographer, and the photographer had an assistant, and I was literally this close to like begging them to letting me use their camera to shoot the ceremony until I could get my camera to work. Oh my God. And luckily, for some reason, it turned on. I mean, I think it was just like I opened up the battery and took out the battery, put it back in. But you just never know. And now after that experience, it's like having a backup camera. Yep. For that kind of event is so important for weddings when there's no second chances. For any type of event, if you can have a backup camera, it doesn't have to be as expensive, but just having something just in case is important.
I even like, because now I shoot on, you know, it was D800 with this, now it's mirrorless. I rent the same exact camera for my second camera because I can afford it within the budget. And then the older model that I have, the XT1, is in my bag, ready to go. Yeah. If it needs to, it takes the same lenses, it takes the same cards. Yeah. It's not as fast or as resolution, but like just knowing that it's there is like super huge. And then going back to like the speed of having 2 cameras and lenses, the moment of the first kiss to you guys walking out is like, my gosh, like you're just walking. And so to get the close-up shot with the long lens and then drop it and grab the other one is like, that's all I had time for. And even that, like I'm shooting at aperture priority. I don't have time to set my manual settings. I just have to know that I'm good to go. Yeah. So getting used to that is good too.
Cool. Well, all great tips for being prepared and having the right equipment.